Hello, my name is Megan Kneppel. This is my presentation on school-wide safety for the College of Education at Grand Canyon University for my course in Foundational and Educational Administration and Leadership. School safety is everyone's responsibility. Safety and security are essential aspects of developing and maintaining a safe school environment for students, staff, and visitors. Having an effective action plan in place for emergencies and unforeseen events is necessary to avoid fear, panic, and chaos. Communicating practices and working to ensure that safety procedures are in place is the administrator's responsibility, but they cannot take on that alone. Developing and relying on their emergency response team is needed to delegate responsibilities to ensure that all necessary aspects are assigned, practiced, and checked in the event of an actual emergency. Together, we can ensure the safety of our campus and provide security for everyone who walks through our doors. Having a list of our emergency response team is essential. This includes our principal, our dean of students, our office staff, counselors, nurses, custodians, and each of our team pod leaders. Without these people and these contacts available in an emergency, chaos can ensue. Including that is also our incident response assignments. You will notice that we have incident commanders for safety, our liaison officers, and our information officers. These vary depending on the situation and, of course, who is available at the time, depending on the action plan that is taking place. Additionally, we have our operations, our communications liaisons, our recorders, security, our search and rescue teams. Hopefully we should never need those, but they're available. Our safety and damage control, medical and first aid, our student supervision, our student requests, such as if there's an issue and students are asking for assistance or needing help. Our student release forms, this is where if parents do show up and we need to release students, we have them prepared. And our runners, who pretty much take care of anything and everything that's needed at the time. So the question is, how do we handle this? Well, in an event of emergency, we do have this quick reference guide. This helps us walk through any emergencies that may happen and how to handle them. So in an emergency, the first thing we do is we stop, we listen to what's going on, we assess the issue, and then we take action. So, as we said, safety is everybody's responsibility, and schools that prioritize safety tend to have students with better grades, higher test scores, and improved overall academic performance. Why? Because they feel safe, they feel cared for, and they know that in an emergency, there is someone there to help them out. So let's take a look at some of our emergencies that we need to stop, listen, assess, and then go into action. One of those emergencies that often happens is power outages. Depending on where you live, those might be more relevant than others, but in a power outage, the first thing to do is to make sure that the students are all calm and safe. In our case, here in Arizona, we contact the principal or designee. We turn off all electronic equipment, appliances to prevent any damage when the power does turn back on, and we wait for further instructions from the office. Now, this could be a few minutes, it could be hours. It just depends. We've had both situations, but when the power does return, we reset and restart the equipment, and then we unplug and reconnect our phones so that our phone system is working. Now, this is something that seems very trivial to some people, but it is essential to keep our systems going because we do operate in a VoIP system, a voice over internet protocol. And so this is very important. This is part of our emergency operation plan. And during the standard power outages, for the most part, instruction continues just in a paper pencil type situation or through other alternate activities. All right, depending on where you're living, heating and cooling outages could be a big thing. Here in Arizona, it's very, very hot most of the time. And so when we have issues with our cooling or our AC units going out, we do tend to have some emergencies happening because our temperatures can reach in excess of 100 degrees. So if we have a problem with a heating or cooling outage, we report that immediately to the office. The office will then contact the district office and then they make reports accordingly. However, if our classrooms are extremely warm, the first thing we do is we open our doors. Now, in our building, all of our doors open to the inside of the building where they are secured still. So we're not opening doors to outside where potential people could intruders could come in or something. So the students are still very secure. If needed, once we've contacted the principal, we will collect our materials and work to continue instruction, and if necessary, be relocated. One of our go-to locations for relocation is our cafeteria or the school library, which is located in the different buildings from most of the classrooms. We will go ahead then and resume classes, and as needed, hopefully return to our classrooms at some point soon. One of the things that we've been practicing and that has come to light most lately is lockdowns. Lockdowns, unfortunately, happen for many reasons. This could be something simply as a drill, which is what we hope they always will ever have to be and never have to be something worse. But we have had official lockdowns in our school due to police activity in the neighborhood nearby. And these can result from suspicious behavior on or near camp, police presences nearby, or whatever the situation is, we are prepared. One of the things that we do is if the lockdown is issued, the principal or a designee from the office will issue a lockdown. However, any staff member on campus has the ability to issue a lockdown. We direct all students and staff and visitors immediately and swiftly to secure classrooms or rooms within our building that are lockable. We lock the doors, turn out the lights, make sure the windows are covered, which are all of our windows are tinted and covered as well, but this is just an extra form of coverage for us. Do not open the doors. We do not open the doors under any circumstances, even if somebody pulls the fire alarm. We don't know what's going on. We stay inside. We have all students get down on the floor and remain as silent as possible. Of course, with our littles, sometimes that's difficult, but for the most part, since we practice this often, they do very, very well. At that point, we report all the number of students and staffs and our count on our recording app. We use the GroupMe app in our school district or in our campus, and then we wait for the all clear before we move. We have been in lockdowns for 5 minutes, and we have been locked down for 2 hours. So whatever the situation is, that is what we follow. So it kind of has to go with what's going on, and the best thing to do is just to keep those kiddos as calm as possible. Now, opposed to the standard lockdown, we have what's called a shelter in place. This is when we have an issue where there might be somebody on campus or something happening, and it's still safe at this point, but there are concerns or possibility. Maybe we have somebody who's upset or who's lurking around campus and we don't know. And so we go ahead and we go into what's called a shelter in place. We direct all students and staff and visitors into secure classrooms again. As before, we lock the doors and cover the windows, keep everybody calm. And we, again, account for our students, report who we have, who's absent, any additional staff members, students, or visitors on campus. But unlike the standard lockdown, at this point, our instruction continues as normal. We can go ahead and proceed with lessons. Don't have to shut down the lights or anything. We just kind of are staying nice and secure. Students that need to leave the classroom must be accompanied by an adult staff member if they need to leave, whether it's for medication or to use the bathroom, although all of our classrooms are equipped with emergency buckets, which we really don't want to use unless we absolutely have to. So in a shelter in place emergency, we would go ahead and escort a student to the bathroom. Again, we will continue our instruction and wait for the all clear or the signal to return to normal operations. However, if we do have an emergency that happens during that time, of course, we will contact the nurse or front office for additional assistance. My apologies. Apparently I got my slides a little mixed up here. So fire and evacuation, we would start by activating the fire alarm. If we see an active fire, we want to hit the fire alarm. We will evacuate students and staff to safe distance away from the buildings. For most of us, that is either out in the field, baseball field, or into the campus next door of our middle school. We will follow the posted evacuation routes, which are located by all of the classroom doors. And also we will grab our emergency purple folders that have our school rosters in them as well. Once we are safely out of the school and at our designated evacuation area, we will take attendance using those class rosters. And during that time, the principal or one of the designees in the front office or on campus has already called 911. After we have taken roll, after the evacuations, teachers will send a all clear notification via our school app, which we again use GroupMe for this. This would include the number of students, any missing students that we have, and any additional students or adults. This sometimes happens if we have students that are at interventions or visiting the nurse or at speech. So we want to make sure that we have accurate counts. The principal and designee then will notify the staff if and when it is safe to return to normal operations, or if we need to prepare for an evacuation. Thankfully, we have not had that situation, and hopefully we will not in the future. And here's my misplaced slide, so sorry about that. One of the other situations that we do have to plan for is an intruder. This is any unauthorized person on campus or acting suspicious around campus. This can cause us to be placed into a lockdown or, as I mentioned before, a shelter in place. If we are to see an intruder, we need to make sure that we contact the principal or designee, somebody in the front office, and discuss with them real quickly whether we feel that it would be necessary to do a shelter in place, which we have had happen during morning recess before, where we had a parent that was grabbing onto our fence and trying to lure kids over. And so it became an uncomfortable situation, and so we did go into a soft shelter in place. If it seems safe, for you as the adult or the leader, please, if you feel comfortable, ask another staff to accompany you to approach that intruder. Now, make sure that you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, please don't do that. But please politely greet that intruder and identify yourself. Inform them that, all guests must be registered at the front office and that you'd be happy to go ahead and walk with them up there. That way, if they have anything that they feel they want to talk to a student or their child, perhaps, and we just don't know, but to keep them safely off that campus and making everybody feel comfortable. However, if it is unsafe, please, when you call in, immediately request that a lockdown or a shelter in place be initiated, because of course we are the first line of defense and safety for our students. And once they're on our campus, they're our little ones, and we're the ones that are responsible for keeping them safe. Of course, there are times when we have cases of injury. Minor injuries we contact the nurse or office. Usually that is done through the QR code. We scan that and fill in the information. If possible, if it's a more like something that's a biohazard, there's blood or something like that, try to isolate the student, keep them safe away from other people, contact the nurse, or if it's really urgent, if it looks like something very much more necessary, let the nurse or the principal or the front office know that they need to call 911 right away, and they will go ahead and contact the injured person's parents as well and then come take care of the issue. For more serious injuries, hopefully we never have to worry about somebody dying on campus, but for more serious injuries, it's definitely important to isolate that child or that adult even, because it could happen not just to our students, but also to our adults. We want to immediately contact the nurse in the office. They will contact 911 or law enforcement or whatever the case may be, depending on what the situation is. Hopefully it's nothing hopefully nothing more than maybe stitches or broken bones, because at least those will heal. Then we will go ahead and identify the staff member to accompany the injured child or person to the hospital if that is necessary, because if we were looking at more serious, chances are they will be transported. And so at that point, we would look at our ERT team and take one of the designated people who would accompany that child with the ambulance to the hospital for to be looked at, and also to meet the parents there. All of this information is great, but there are times where, we have to consider the needs of our special needs students, our students with exceptionalities, autism, our DD students, our moderately or severely disabled students. And in lockdowns, that can be very scary. One of the things that we definitely have to be careful is when we lock down that those students feel comfortable. So we want to make sure that their teachers with them, that their paraprofessionals are available, that we can keep the area quiet for them, have activities and things to keep them engaged and just calm, because that's really above all the most important thing is them not to panic, especially our autism kids who can really, changes in sensory things can really set them off. Also, if a student needs medication immediately and there's no immediate danger, like an active shooter, unfortunately, or something like that on campus, that you contact the health office, and they will make arrangements to get the medication to you and that child. Again, we all will keep all the doors locked. You want to keep the windows and blinds closed. Our windows don't actually open, but keep them covered and closed. Like the lights are turned off. We want to make sure all the students are gathered together. Have them remain quiet, but maybe give them something to color or something just to keep them busy. But try to do your best to keep them quiet and take attendance, and make sure you get that sent in on our GroupMe app. In the case of an evacuation, we follow the same protocols. We definitely want to make sure that any special equipment that they need, maybe inhalers, or for some of our more special needs kids, diapering things, their medication, that everything is moved with them when we do evacuate. When we go to the evacuation system, make sure centers or locations, make sure that we have a buddy system so that we know that they're all accounted for, depending on the situation, of course. Please make sure that you take attendance. That's super, super important. And plan to have a bag ready to go for in case of emergencies that have activity, manipulative sensory items in there. Maybe a designated iPad that you could play some music or something, or a little video, whatever is available for you, because these kiddos are going to need it. And also, when you get there, keep them calm and just wait for instructions. And of course, again, we will follow our GroupMe application and send out our notifications as to where we are and that we're all safe. One thing that we need to remember also is during fire drills, those alarms are really loud for our special needs students, but classroom doors must be unlocked. When you leave the room, I know there's a lot of stuff in there that's special, but you got to leave the doors unlocked for checking. Make sure that you're taking precautions for any students that have noise sensitivity, such as noise canceling headphones that you can help them wear. Make sure you turn off your lights, exit to the field or your designated area, depending on where your classroom is located on our campus. Once you are there, make sure that you take attendance, follow the evacuation attendance sheet, and just try to keep the kids calm. That's the big thing. Make sure that they're calm. Again, if you need to have their medication, let the nurse know. They'll see what they can do. If they need to call 911 to get EMTs there to provide medication, they will do that. But again, overall, keep the kids calm and try to do things as calmly as possible and as smoothly, and just make those kids know that they're safe and that you care about them. In the event of an emergency that requires EMS or extra medical needs, the front lane of our school is blocked off. That is our fire lane, just like we do every morning. And the side bus lane that go through our campus must remain unobstructed during any emergency events. This is where our emergency equipment's going to come, the emergency vehicles, whatever else is needed. We do have designated emergency personnel who will meet the EMTs. Those are the people on our emergency response plan, and they will meet with the EMTs or the incident command to coordinate the support. Once the incident commanders are on site, they will take control and we will become secondary. We will refer to our emergency operation plans for our assignments, which I did show you briefly at the beginning. These will be located in the front office. There's also a copy in each of your purple folders that are in your classroom in your emergency response folders, which should be right by your classroom doors, right by your emergency evacuation maps. Once the emergency personnel arrive, they will take control of the situation, and then we become the designees to help them however they are needed. But again, these are the EMT, our ERT people. The rest of us will stay with our classrooms, with our students, and making sure everybody's safe and calm and accounted for. And finally, just a reminder again, as we've been saying throughout this, that safety is everyone's responsibility. Daily safety routines must be followed at all times, including ensuring that our doors and gates on our campus are locked. This is so important, guys. We know we send out emails every week reminding you guys lock the doors, make sure the gates are locked. And also that we want to make sure that when the gates are opened for whatever reason, whether it's deliveries or in the mornings when students are coming in, that those gates are monitored at all times. Student drop-off and pickup areas are monitored and manned by staff members. They also have their emergency communication devices with them at all times. That includes their phones with their GroupMe apps, as well as any other devices that we need. Bus loading and unloading is also monitored by staff members. There is at least 2 staff members from each grade level out on the playground at all times, and we have 4 staff members at all times monitoring the buses before and after school. And then also parents and families are provided with opportunity. We utilize Parent Square for our communications, and that's how we keep track. We do have some Class Dojo, but Class Dojo is starting to go away. So Parent Square is our big one for updated communication. And if anything changes or in emergencies, that is where Mrs. Hoagland, our school administrative secretary, will send out those notifications. So again, everybody, it is our responsibility. We're a team. We're a great team. And, here at Sunrise, without you and your dedication, we couldn't do this. So let's keep those kids safe, and in an emergency, use those quick flyers, that brochure, to help you. All right, and have a wonderful day, guys.